Well, look, it's not like you don't know guys like Joey Merlino, in your past life. There are some people that are hardcore. Snitching is off the table no matter what. If you're a snitch, then I hate you. You're dead to me. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm sure you know people like this, that were very hardcore, because if you think about it, the whole premise of joining the mafia was you agree not to snitch.
That's
right?
correct.
That's part of the initiation process.
Absolutely.
It's one of the pillars that holds these organizations together. So, we talked about this before. You cooperated. It didn't put anyone in prison, but to a certain hardcore person from that life, it doesn't matter if you put anyone in prison, you still cooperated. So you can't really be that surprised that he's taking a stance like that, because from what I understand, Joey never cooperated. And he did a lot of prison time along the way because of that, right?
I have no idea what he did or he didn't do.
Right. I've never heard of Joey cooperating on any level.
I have no idea.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can't be surprised that he would take this stance.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He could take whatever position he wants. It doesn't matter to me. All I'm saying is, if you have an issue with me, come like a man and talk to me about it, or do whatever you think you're going to do. Do it. But to get on social media and start, that's not me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to even retaliate. I'm not even going to respond to nonsense like that.
But you did respond, though, on your channel.
Well, I did because of my dad. Yeah. That's off the table. Off the table. And I've never done that. But when you say something like that was so ridiculous and absurd about my father, I responded. That's my father. I love him. And that's it. One time, done. Okay? But like I said, if you have something to say to me, or you got a problem with me, why do it on social media?
Do you think that the whole concept of snitching is really a trick that the guys at the top use to try to insulate themselves and send the lower guys to prison while they maintain their life outside and the money that they make?
No.
Really?
No, I don't believe that. Look, everybody's their own individual person. They do what they do at the time for whatever reason they have to do it. And this isn't something that the organization has developed, for insulation, like you said. No. Everybody's different. They do what they do. Listen, Vlad, this is explained 100 times already. It's old news already. I did what I did. I have no regrets on what I did. The bottom line for me is, I don't care what anybody says, bring me facts. Nobody ever went to prison because of anything I ever told anybody, and that's the bottom line. I struggled through a situation to make sure that wouldn't happen. The government has verified that. John Gleason verified it. He was the prosecutor for John Gotti. He wrote it in his book. Franzese took us for a ride. Ed McDonald, the same thing. I knew what I was doing, and I suffered for it. I went back to prison as a result of it. But here I am, and I have no regrets with what I did. And that's the bottom line, and I didn't hurt anybody.
Now, listen, I don't necessarily have a problem with this. My thing is that if you decide to engage in criminal activities, you should expect that there's going to be cooperation when things go bad. Point blank, period.
Part of the life.
Human preservation. At the end of the day, go to white collar crimes. Go to crimes that happen on Wall Street, insider trading. Everybody cooperates. Nobody holds their tongue. You've never heard of a Wall Street guy that's doing 20 years in prison because he wouldn't snitch on his friends. No. At the point the feds come, they go and open up their books and tell them exactly, who did what, when, here's the receipts. Who else can I tell on to get a few years off my sentence? This is regular in any other world. But in the mafia and hip hop and so forth, people are expected to throw away their lives because of an ideal.
Well, you know, Vlad, it's not only that. And again, every case is individual. But there's times when that life doesn't treat the person the right way either.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. Listen, it's not all the honor and respect that everybody thinks it is all the time. And again, there's individual cases. People do things for different reasons. But there are people that I know that really got screwed. And they said, hey, why should I do this? I'm not one of those guys. I'm not copping out in that regard. When I say copping out, I'm not copping out for myself. But other people might have had legitimate reasons for doing what they did. And who am I to judge that? Okay, that wasn't my situation. I didn't say, hey, I'm mad at everybody, I'm going to get even. No, I knew what I was up against back then. And, I did what I did for my reasons, not for anything else. I wasn't mad at the life. I wasn't mad at anybody, nothing like that. And I wasn't facing a zillion years in prison either.
Yeah.
That wasn't my situation.
Well, I feel people will just justify it the way they're going to justify it. Because I remember when I interviewed Sammy the Bull for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And, we talked about the whole situation, about how he was going to stay loyal, but then he heard recordings where John Gotti said they're going to put all the murders on Sammy. And then at that point, he said, okay, well, if he's going to turn on me, I'm going to turn on him. So he cooperated against John Gotti. Okay, I got it. But Sammy went on a world tour in terms of cooperating. He took the stand against all these different mafia bosses. I think Chin Gigante, he was involved in that case and so forth. I said, okay, well, I understand the John Gotti part, but all these other people who you took the stand against, they didn't turn against you. They weren't trying to put you in prison. They weren't trying to pin things on you. Why did you testify against them as well? And the answer was like, well, I was the only one that testified against them. I was just one of many people. So there's always going to be a justification for it. I've just given up trying to find some sort of, big truth in this whole thing. Everyone's got it, ultimately, I don't want to do life in prison. How's that?
Everybody's got their own reasons for doing what they do. Some are justified, others you question. But, hey, I learned long ago, who am I to judge?
Right.
I mean, look, I happen to be very fortunate. I was one of those guys for 20 years of my life, 20 plus years. I happen to be very fortunate to be where I am today. And like I said, I don't owe apologies to anybody. And I don't have to justify myself to anybody. And if people want to comment about, look, people take shots at me all day long. I know it. People want views. They mention my name. I mean, it's going to happen,
Right. That's social media for you.
And if you don't have thick skin, you shouldn't be on social media. You shouldn't be doing any of this.
No, you should not. Well, I interviewed Joe Baroni. Are you familiar with him?
I don't know Joe Barone. No, I mean,
Right.
I don't know who he is.
They say he was the longest running mafia informant ever.
I mean, I heard that, but I didn't know him. Yeah.
He actually said that, when I brought your name up, he said that you're the greatest mobster of all time.
Well, thank you for that. I don't know about that, but...
Yeah, I mean, we went into his whole story, I mean, what's interesting, what I learned from him is that when you become a cooperator with law enforcement, you don't decide when it's over. Once you're a cooperator, they could keep you out there for years.
Yeah, I believe
if they
that.
want to.
Yeah.
When they're done with you is when they're done with you. You can't just say, okay, I gave you that guy, I'm done. No, you're not done. Unless you want to go back to prison right now.
Yeah.
You're going to stay out here and keep working for us. And then you might, but when you cooperate, you're not even guaranteed for them to clean your record or even not do any prison time. A lot of times people cooperate and will still get a bunch of prison time. It's not really up to you. I mean, they could put in the recommendation, but the judge could say no.
Right.
I don't agree with it.